Hello and welcome to the sixth episode of Hey Listen. I'm Doug Rubio.
Kevin Shepard.
Paolo Chindocha.
And today in the news, Gamescom happened recently, and we have a litany of things to talk about. So, why don't we start with?
Well, one thing that has been, I guess, it's been in every one of our episodes. I think mostly just because me and Doug are in love with. Well,
yeah, but by the way, Sebastian's not here today.
Yes,
we are missing
a core member.
Always charismatic.
But we will carry on with our episodes as usual. So we will be back next week, though.
So Fallout 4.
Yeah.
400 plus hours of gameplay.
And you thought Witcher had a lot of,
right, with
150 plus,
oh
400 plus hours.
And then they added the new game plus mode, which just adds the replayability to it.
So, okay, this is what I was telling them. So we know that there is no level cap, and that there is no there technically is no end to the main story. Does that prove, or does that leave the chance that the game will become stale after a while if there really is no end there and no level cap?
Well, I mean,
yes, there's the 400 hours plus of gameplay,
right.
But I still feel like there's the off chance that the game will start to become stale unless they start to release, let's say, expansion packs.
Right, and which they did with Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas.
I mean, do we know if we're getting anything after this, or is this the last one of the Fallout?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
They said that there's
definitely going to be.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I mean, Fallout's one of those series. I don't know if you feel the same way, Doug. It's just one of those series that I don't think they're ever going to go away. Just because the story it brings and, the setting and all of that, it's just something that they can just constantly make games from.
Right, because it takes place, post-apocalyptic after like a one-day war between China and the United States, where just the whole world is just the whole world, right?
Yeah.
It got nuked. So I think in Fallout 3 took place in
DC. Yeah.
And then New Vegas, right? And then this was like I think
Boston.
So there's like different settings that so they can always just bring up a new setting.
Because I remember before they announced Boston, there were rumors that they could have been in Chicago.
That actually I never seen.
Because that would have been out. I think that would have been awesome because they did the whole West Coast with Vegas and
I think that'd be really interesting.
The whole California Republic, and then they did DC. They should have just done something right in the middle of it all.
Yeah, because the new California Republic was the flag was like a mutated bear. You know how the California flag is a bear? But it's terrifying. But I mean, 400 hours. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. And I think that these companies sometimes they overestimate. Like they'll say almost this many hours. I mean, do they say?
So is it 400 hours like legit based on the actual gameplay, or maybe 400 hours depending on how fast certain individuals work throughout a game?
Well, I guess it was just an estimate based off of not just the main storyline, but the side quests and
probably just the average gamer themselves.
Right.
How long it would take.
Still a lot of hours.
No, it is. And we thought The Witcher was huge with 150.
I thought Skyrim was huge when they came out.
I'm not so hung up on amount of hours. I'm like, it's got to be quality, it's got to be quality, gameplay.
Right, because with Skyrim, it was 100 plus hours. But honestly, after I finished the main storyline, things got dull fast.
Yeah.
And even with the DLC, when they came out with the whole Dawnguard and Dragonborn, I honestly had more fun with the one where you build your own house than I did with the other two. Because it just started getting more repetitive and go fetch this, go grab this.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that. It's kind of like my brother just finished playing GTA 5 all over again, and after the main story's done, it looks extremely repetitive. You just keep doing similar missions, just in a different variation over and over again and over. And so, I mean, I hope that doesn't happen with Fallout.
Yeah, I had GTA. I bought it to the 360. I finished it with the 360. And then when the new version came out, I made the mistake to I made the mistake of buying it for the Xbox One. Because like I was getting like pumped up with the first person thing and online. I bought it, played it for like a week. Now it's just collecting dust.
Yeah.
Because I noticed it was just the same thing, just with a new coat of paint.
And do they say if it's 400 hours like straight, day one, or is it overtime when they add more content?
I feel like it's gonna be an overtime thing, just to, I guess, almost as like filler for us until we get the next Fallout. So I doubt they're going to release the full 400 hours all at one time.
Well, I mean, you don't know because that game's been in production for a while.
It has.
So when does Skyrim come out? Because I would imagine right after Skyrim release, they got to work on the new Fallout.
And then they were asking them if they were going to start. I read it just now. If they were going to start producing the next Elder Scrolls, and the guy turned it down, saying, "No, we're still fully focused on Fallout."
Yeah.
Which means that they are going to be. They're probably working on DLC or, stuff like that. I mean, so we could potentially be looking at a game that's huge.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, we still have a couple months to go.
I'm looking forward.
I'm getting to a point where I might add that to my pre-order list. So they're giving that.
Have an exact date.
I know it's November.
Yeah, I don't think they have an exact date.
Because last time I went to GameStop, the guy's like, "So I see 2 of your games are coming out in November. One Fallout comes out in November too." I'm like, "How much money do you think I have?"
What games are coming out in November this year?
Star Wars Battlefront and Black Ops 3.
So Black Ops 3, that can contend with Fallout, but I don't think any other game.
No, I don't even know if Black Ops 3 will really contend with it, man. Just because I love the Black Ops the Call of Duty franchise, but it's a very repetitive.
Well, and then the last couple of ones, like the campaign, like story modes, have been kind of.
I don't know. I actually like the Advanced Warfare campaign mode.
No, that one was probably
one was incredible.
But that was because of
it sucked.
Yeah.
The entirety.
Black Ops 2 sucked too.
Black Ops 2 was okay, but just for the online.
I think what made Advanced Warfare good was Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
He was
a great villain. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, the Black Ops 2 campaign was horrible, but the online play was great. Which I'm a little disappointed with the last couple of games because Nuketown's gone and everyone loved Nuketown.
Why did he go?
I don't know. I really don't know, to be honest with you. But Nuketown was great, man. I mean,
that was my multiplayer like.
That was the map you wanted to play.
Oh, you're talking about the house and shit.
The old retro.
Nuketown was the map to play. Like, yeah, they had some other good maps, but Nuketown was where you wanted to be. It was simple, and everyone was just confined.
Yeah, there was nowhere to hide. There was no sniping, no camping.
And if you did snipe, then fuck you.
No, and people would. I tried sniping a couple of times. They would know it because there was like only one place on the whole map.
After you played Nuketown enough times, you know where the sniping spots are.
Yeah.
And at that time, when I started playing Black Ops, I wasn't a sniper at that point. Where now I embrace sniping. I hate to even say that because I hate people who camp out and snipe, but I've fallen victim to that. I know those people now.
Don't get pissed off at campers.
Yeah, I mean, Advanced Warfare brought a lot to the table.
Well, because Advanced Warfare kind of took away a little bit from the snipers and the campers. I feel like in multiplayer Advanced Warfare, you couldn't dominate too much if you just camped the whole time.
No, there wasn't a lot of. There's places to hide, but at the same time, there isn't too many.
Did they replace Nuketown with something similar?
No, actually, no. The only thing that I can say is somewhat similar to Nuketown is this freaking map pack that I bought a couple weeks ago. It's like a bunch of these they look like little apartment buildings that are like all futuristic and they shift and move as the game goes. I want to say the damn map is called, and God, gaming community, forgive me if I got this wrong. I think it's like Perplex or something or something. Oh crap! But that's the only thing that remotely comes close to it. But no, Nuketown is just gone.
Yeah, and all the other levels. The only other map I loved was the one in the yacht for Advanced Warfare.
There's one in the yacht.
Mm-hmm. I forget what the map was called.
Or are you talking about Black Ops 2, the yacht? There was a yacht in Black Ops 2.
Black Ops 2, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's when I started multi-hill, the yacht one.
The yacht was great.
Well, I just think that the name of Call of Duty is gonna, it can contend in terms of sales with Fallout.
Oh yeah. Okay. In terms of sales, yeah.
And maybe like Assassin's Creed 2, but I don't know what other titles. But like Star Wars, I don't think it'd be wise to release a game, that month.
I think they'll only do it just because Star Wars Episode 7 comes out in December. So release the game November, it'll come out December. Yes. It's December.
Was it this year? Yes, this year. Which is smart because you bring in all the fans, get them all hyped up.
Yeah, I suppose. So, I don't know.
I don't know, they've been really hyping the hell out of Star Wars, a lot of their gameplay footage and all this other stuff. It looks alright. It's not even for me, to be honest with you. It's for my brother.
He's a big Star Wars fan.
Yes. I am too. It's just I can't really get into the Battlefront series.
See, I'm not gonna. There's one and one only reason that I'm not gonna buy Battlefront.
What?
No Jedi. I'm sorry, I just can't do Star Wars.
As in, you can't be a Jedi?
Exactly.
Why the fuck not? Can you be a Sith Lord?
In Battlefront? No.
Oh, what the hell?
It's just like the old school Battlefront where it's just like
Commando. Stormtrooper?
Yeah, Commando, Stormtroopers, whatever.
I'll take it.
But no Jedi. And there was like a mod or like a multiplayer. I think you can play as Luke, but it's not something
it's not the same though.
Yeah, it's not the story or like it's not built off of that.
What the hell was that footage they released like last week of Luke and Darth Vader going at it?
Oh, I didn't see that. That might change my perspective.
There would be DLC. You don't think they could put Jedi DLC?
They would have to.
No, they have to. This game's going to succeed. There is no.
That's why I never played the other Battlefront, or I never played when they came out with Star Wars Commando or whatever it's called.
I didn't play that.
I never played that just because for me Star Wars has to be Jedi, some type of all those other Star Wars games we talked about last time with Sebastian.
Oh yeah.
Jedi.
The horrible Star Wars Episode 3 game.
Like even that horrible Star Wars Clone Wars game that came out.
Oh yeah.
It was bad.
The last good Star Wars game was The Force Unleashed. It was like the last good Star Wars game.
2 lost me. But 1 was
2 was just weird for the fact that they completely flipped roles. You're gonna be the good guy. Yeah, why the fuck not?
And then like halfway through the game, he flips roles again.
It's freaking
and says, "Screw the rebellion. I'm just gonna go out to find the chick I'm in love with."
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that Force Unleashed 2.
I think that's what triggered the events that led to George Lucas just selling everything over to Disney.
Yeah, this game sucks. Here you go.
Yeah, just take it. Let me make sure I don't lose too much
money. I don't know.
I mean,
we're going to be seeing a lot of Star Wars for the next couple of years because I know they're doing, I think, an Episode 8 and a 9.
They already announced in the...
I don't know if they're doing up to 10. I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
No, they only announced 3 more.
Yeah. So just 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Okay,
and they already announced Benicio del Toro as the villain for 8.
What villain is he?
They didn't announce his name. I'm guessing some Sith, some type of Sith, something.
Darth Maul is cool.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring him back.
That'd be really cool.
Just because in the Star Wars comics, and kind of going off topic from video games, he didn't die when he fell in that chamber. His brother came, saved him, and gave him the bionic lower body.
Hey, Darth Maul was completely badass. Killed Qui-Gon. You ever stop to think that it's Qui-Gon's fault that Darth Vader was, made? Because he's the one this child
like
will fix everything.
You like the prequels?
Yes. I love the prequels except for Episode 2.
See?
Episode 2 is weird.
You're a minority in that.
Yeah.
Because
I loved it.
Well, I wasn't born with
because it was a different take and a different generation. So they had to include the love interest and they had to include all that stuff.
I mean, okay. Given I like the prequels, but out of the prequels, the only one I love is Episode 3, just because that is the origin of Darth Vader. Other than that, 1 was alright, the whole Darth Maul thing. 2, I think, was a piece of garbage.
It was too heavily based on the whole Padme and...
2 was a piece of garbage. 3 was great. It's the origin of Darth Vader. Seeing him as Anakin struggle with, do I be good? Do I be evil? Well, fuck both of them. I'm just going to do me.
Yeah.
Taking on, Obi-Wan, seeing how he eventually became what he was. getting his ass cut up and all that shit.
See, the thing I never liked with episode 1, they tried making the whole Force thing look very scientific.
You mean the whole midichlorians?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that crap. Yeah, no.
That's how they discovered Anakin. They like took his blood and they're like, holy crap, this guy is juiced with it. And I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Fucking Obi-Wan, you were just jacked with this stuff.
Yeah, he has to be the one. If
you are the chosen one. You know, that's what I'm saying. You ever start to think Obi-Wan fucked us all?
Yeah.
This kid is the chosen one. Yeah, he fucking killed a bunch of people. And well, you know, it's like people say, he wasn't stated to be the chosen one to bring balance to the good side. You know?
He was the chosen one to bring the unbalance, and Luke was the chosen one to bring the balance back. And they announced...
So what is his daughter in this movie? Flipping his back?
She's the daughter of Leia, right?
Is she? I thought she was the daughter of Luke.
Mm-mm.
What the fuck?
She's the daughter of Leia. Luke doesn't have kids.
So what the hell is he saying in that fucking trailer? Like, my sister had the Force, my father had it.
No, you have it.
Oh, that's for the game?
No, that's for the actual... He's her uncle.
Okay, so he's essentially talking to her. Okay.
Because he went... I mean, it's not much spoilers because it was all over the internet. He went into isolation. He disappeared off the map because he was afraid that...
He pulled the Yoda.
Yeah, because he didn't want to be like the cause of like another imbalance of the Force. Then he got pulled back in because of the new threat that comes and stuff like that. Oh, because his lightsabers, something happened to his lightsaber, and the African American stormtrooper dude finds it and goes to give it, and then I think it was either Leia or Han Solo that recognizes it.
I need an explanation as to why a stormtrooper feels the need to go give a lightsaber to a Jedi.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just a really nice stormtrooper.
Like, oh, here, look what I found.
I know I'm a part of the enemy team, and by logic, I should be a douchebag. Here you go.
Wasn't didn't at that point? No, the stormtroopers. They're no longer.
No.
Are they still evil?
I don't know.
After the fall of the Emperor?
Maybe not.
Because I know Han Solo became the general of something.
Maybe that's what he kind of took over that stormtrooper or some shit.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Before I forget, they did confirm, the director said that there's going to be none of that science.
Yeah, I was happy to see that, and fans are happy too, because, I mean, it just made no sense. I get what George Lucas is going for, I get it, but considering it's not real science, you have no way to really explain it.
It's like in real life trying to explain God. It's like, oh, this is why God exists, or there's a being out there created from...
Or it'd be like telling, me going up to this, I feel God in you. You're just jacked with it, man. You are the Messiah.
So they pretty much painted Jedis to be Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah. And essentially...
Apologies to any Jehovah's Witnesses watching this.
Please don't come knocking.
Or Mormons.
Yeah, please don't come knocking on the door. As a way of, saying be a back at it for that.
Oh, God. So going into our next thing, since we did touch Call of Duty, you were extremely pissed about this.
Furious that it's competitively it's moving to PS4.
Right, and for the longest, Call of Duty has always been linked with Xbox.
Yes, because PlayStation had Battlefield.
Mm-hmm. Battlefield has been going down.
Yeah.
The last one that came out was Hardline.
My thing is, just some motherfucker with money said, "Hey, Battlefield sucks. It's starting to suck. All right, let's bring on Call of Duty because people are more drawn to Call of Duty than they are Battlefield." Even though I had a ton of people, telling me a bunch of crap about, but you can drive a car in Battlefield. You can do this. Fuck your damn car. I don't give a shit.
Right.
I feel like Call of Duty just has a more in-your-face style.
Yeah. It's more action.
Yes.
Battlefield is more stuck. You just a lot of running, a lot of.
Battlefield relies heavily on trying to get people to play strategically.
Yes, that's what. Yeah,
when nobody fucking plays strategically.
Only for the competitive scene, though, right? That they're switching.
Right, like for the tournaments and.
Yeah, it's only for that. So but still, I think I'm only salty as hell right now because I wanted to finish the championship next year. So now I need to freaking practice on a webcam PlayStation controller, which is infuriating.
That's the only difference. It could be also because PS4 is outselling Xbox.
I mean, it could be because of that too, but I think PlayStation realized, hey, Battlefield ain't doing so hot.
I think Call of Duty has always outsold on the Xbox though, as opposed to the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Yeah,
I want
last generation definitely.
And I think for Advanced Warfare too.
For this one.
It was really really outselling, and I put thought into it when I was reading the article, and I think it has a lot to do with how lately we've noticed that Microsoft and Sony have been kind of getting jabs at each other. Microsoft got Tomb Raider, PlayStation.
Now they have to take my precious Call of Duty.
Right, so they had to do something, kind of be like, screw you guys. You took our Tomb Raider, and Tomb Raider has always been a PlayStation game. So now they're like, we're going to take a game that's always been linked.
My thing is, how does this affect the championship next year? Because we're already almost done with this year. And the championship, if I am correct, is literally around the corner. I mean, it takes place yearly, correct?
Yes.
So if I'm correct, it's literally around the corner because I was watching championship this year not too long before WrestleMania happened. So it's around that time.
Okay.
So it's literally around the corner. So how is that going to affect the people who have been doing it yearly, playing it on an Xbox platform? I'm not going to say they're not going to get a big turnout. People are still going to show up.
Right. I mean, I think it's PlayStation's way.
Pissing me off.
That too. The PlayStation's way of just saying, hey, Xbox gamers, if you want to compete, go out and buy a PlayStation. And there will be people crazy enough to go out and do that.
Yeah, I'd be that guy in line. I'd grab a PlayStation 4, put it at the register, and then, the guy saying, how you doing? I'm not buying this. Why'd you bring it to the register? To spite you. That's why I did it. And I would just leave.
You can use a converter.
Sell those things?
Since the controller's wireless, I'm not sure. But I know for arcade sticks, there's converters that, if you have a 360 arcade stick, you can convert it to it.
Too much work just for me to play.
And then I feel like you're still.
Oh, it's a siren. I thought it was fucking web used to. I was like, we got some Google shit going on. I know I'm hungover as hell, but damn.
Oh, jeez.
What else?
Oh no, I was just gonna say. I mean, it's gonna be interesting, just because. I mean, going on into this episode, I'm gonna be talking a lot about the Microsoft Gamescom briefing. So I feel like we're gonna be, especially now when the holidays approaching, it's gonna be a lot of PlayStation against Xbox.
Because I think PlayStation is moving over there now, and they made this move. I feel like PlayStation's gonna get an even bigger increase in their sales.
Oh yeah.
From the Call of Duty fans, just for the fact that there's so many people who play competitively. I mean, look at this amount of people over there playing. There's 32 teams of 5. 32 teams from all over the world. So I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that.
We're just gonna have to wait.
I wonder why. Did they give a reason?
No. I mean, they just said they just made the announcement that going into it, it's gonna be. They just said esports.
Yeah.
Call of Duty is gonna be played on PlayStation 4. They didn't give it a legitimate reason.
I wonder if it's an esports thing too, saying, hey, we can maybe make more money moving on PlayStation since PlayStation is outselling Xbox.
But that shouldn't affect it much in terms of, the game is still going to be bought regardless because it's on both consoles.
Well, I'm talking about as far as getting people to compete in the tournament. Since since PlayStation's not selling Xbox, maybe having esports move to PlayStation, it'll draw in a bigger crowd for this year.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's right. Maybe they did that. I do love fighting games. It used to be PS3, last generation. It was PS3, Marvel, Street Fighter were playing on PS3.
Did it move to Xbox?
They were to Xbox because playing on PS3 because it's slight lag. You gotta be really good to notice it. But there's a little.
It's an
play games enough, like you can tell what's fun.
I didn't have problems on my 360 with Mario.
Right. Yeah. So.
I mean, unless I was fighting Phoenix, right? Then I had massive trouble.
But I've noticed too when I go to tournaments and stuff that for the newer games, like Mortal Kombat, X, and like they don't just split. So 50, I think. You know.
Well, I do know Mortal Kombat, and this is because I have a legitimate source. NetherRealms did have like a little side agreement with Sony to, kind of amp their like playability on PlayStation a little bit more.
This is like super off topic, but as far as like competitive play goes, I wouldn't mind seeing like Call of Duty Zombies tournament to get some teams.
Oh yeah,
See who
they're actually teasing bringing that game mode to Black Ops 3.
Zombies?
Yeah.
Oh, it was already announced. Yeah, they got a trailer and everything.
Zombies
gonna be in it.
A while ago,
it's the biggest zombies pack or map that's being like released. Looks great from what I see. I mean, they're putting some new stuff in it that just it really piqued my interest more than Advanced Warfare Zombies did.
Yeah.
Because I bought the Ascendance pack and I was just not impressed with the zombies all that much. It was fun for the first call it day or so, but after a while it just was so boring. This time I was just so freaking boring with zombies. This one looks like it's really gonna make up for it.
Oh yeah. I mean the game itself looks amazing.
Alright,
so the next thing, so they did confirm Final Fantasy 15 next year.
Okay. Well, I think it's been in development for a really long time. I'm glad that they're taking their time with it because, I don't want them to rush something that's not going to be good because I haven't played the latest Final Fantasy that came out, but in the number series, the last few haven't been like as good as the older ones.
Yeah.
So, and this one looks promising, so I'm glad that they're taking their time.
And I saw footage. They did have, I don't know if you saw it, they had like a little mini trailer for the at Gamescom. Where it was like a father and a son, and he was just like, the father was like telling the son, "Oh, farewell, like I'm always gonna love you no matter what." And then it just like zooms up and you just see in the distance, all hell's about to break loose. So I mean, it looked amazing. I mean, and I to be honest, I've never played a Final Fantasy game, but I've.
Oh, well, actually, the only one I ever played was Search for Cerberus. That was it.
But that game, that trailer itself looked so amazing. It actually made me like, okay, maybe I might want to look into getting that game.
I'm gonna get it just because I'm a huge fan of Final Fantasy, but I'm not 100% convinced that it's gonna be like up there with like in terms of the classics. Just based on what I've seen and based on how the way like the latest ones came out.
Mm-hmm.
But it does. I mean, I'm gonna give it every chance, and I hope like it blows me away. But
so getting off topic again, I mean, you personally, how would you like to see the franchise end?
And well, I don't want to see it end. I don't want to do that. No, it's gonna go on. Yeah.
You want it to go on forever.
Yeah. I want them to go back to like a more like high fantasy setting, like the older ones were.
Okay.
I want them to do that. I want them to go back to the the way the battles kind of a lot of people think it's outdated.
I mean, do you think the story will ever end? Like the story itself?
No, see that's the thing about Final. It's not a continuous story. Every game is different. Every game is like a completely new world, completely new characters, completely new thing. Except for like the spin-offs and the sequels, like Final Fantasy, like when you play, it's a spin-off of 7. It's all 7 universe. You know what I mean? And 8 has its own universe. 9 universe.
Okay.
So that's why it can't end. The only thing that's kind of the same is like these little themes, like the song, like.
But if it had to end, how would you want it to go out?
If it had to end,
how would you want it to go out? Like, would you like all these universes to come together as one?
Exactly. I mean, that's probably as corny as it is, and it will be. That's probably
together.
Yeah. I got it. If Sebastian were here, this is what he would say. The best way to make it end is to pull a Mortal Kombat, like in the video game, all the universes combined, everyone's dead, dying, then right at the end there's like a light that just like turns on and just like resets everything.
And then you can reboot the franchise.
Yeah, and
and
start
then
all
I can
over
picture
again.
Pilatus and then Sega takes over.
I'm surprised they haven't like really just done a Final Fantasy. Just Final Fantasy, like rebooted. They did freaking everything else. You just reboot the other two or more time, but they just reboot. I'm surprised Final Fantasy has another.
Maybe because it's just so continuous. There's just no reason
I
to
don't. Yeah.
right now.
I'm not sure if I want them to. You know, because if they just reboot it, it's gonna kind of overshadow Final Fantasy 1, which a primitive game as it was, still had a story. You know,
Yeah.
But that'll be interesting if they were to like reboot it.
And since I talked about Mortal Kombat, you know, I thought I'd bring it up since we didn't mention about movies the last time.
Oh yeah.
They announced that finally, after all these years, they are making a Mortal Kombat movie, and they have
I just
hired.
don't know how I feel about it since the directors did Fast and Furious. Those are two different franchises.
Yeah.
He did a good job with
The
it.
movies are supposed to, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Fast Race, but I know like some of them are really good.
Some of them are really good, yeah. Some of them are. Some of them
The last
kind
couple ones were really, really good in terms of action and the just cinematic presence that it had. Because the first couple of Fast and Furious movies, I don't think it was the same guy. And it had
no, because it took a dramatic change after like
Tokyo Drift.
After 3, it took just a dramatic change.
I saw 6. I haven't seen 7 yet, but I heard 7 was amazing.
I only got to 3 and that was it. Because 3 confused the hell out of me.
Yeah. See, but now my question would be, what actors would you bring? Are you going to bring in known actors, or are you going to bring in unknown, like, you know?
I feel like you need to bring in unknown actors, someone who's looking to make it big. Because if you bring in someone who already is big, I feel like you run the risk of them being a total fucking diva, just saying, I want it this way instead. So if you bring in someone who's unknown, I feel like they're more willing to stick to, you know, the director's vision, just for the sake of, I want to get big, you know. I mean, it's a weird way of looking at it. But I mean, as far as like famous people, who the hell come in?
Yeah. I mean,
the only person I could see playing like Johnny Cage was like fucking Tom Cruise. That dude's old as hell now.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Just because back when the other Mortal Kombat movies came out, the whole martial arts and movies was so big, and now it's non-existent.
And the thing is, a lot of those actors too in movies were a lot of not necessarily unknown actors, but they weren't like fucking top star Hollywood actors.
Right, they were upcoming.
Which I feel is what made that movie great. Whereas if you had brought like a Tom Cruise in, you know, you're just gonna bitch about the whole thing.
But now they need at least one top actor, because they did that in the first Mortal Kombat with Lambert as Raiden.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Do it again with Raiden. Bring someone who's kind
somebody,
of big,
you know, that presence experience, because you could tell the difference once they took him off.
Now, you know, I'm just wondering, what is this? What story are they gonna follow with this movie? Are we gonna see somewhat of a reboot or a Shang Tsung effect, or you know, some reinterpretation?
I just say play it off of Mortal Kombat X. That storyline, just because that storyline, purposely they aged all the characters.
Hey, what the hell did we watch the other day? Or someone was Scorpion and Sub-Zero are brothers. They are not.
No, they're
they are fucking
opposing tribes. But
what happened?
Was it the Greg Miller show we were watching? When someone said that?
Oh, I think they were joking.
Get your shit right, Greg Miller. I watched you on this show one day, and I don't need you getting your shit wrong.
But they aged all these characters. So like Liu Kang had like the gray, a little bit of gray in his hair.
Yeah.
But they were all older, and Johnny Cage had a daughter. Jax had a daughter. And I think in terms of children, I think that was it. But it was kind of like handing the torch off to them to kind of like reach out to the new generation. So why not do the same thing with
just a playable character?
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna do that.
Oh, crap. I can't.
I feel like we're gonna go that route though, handing the torch. We need a prequel movie first, then a sequel where they get to hand it off. Because if they just hand the torch off now, after it's been over a decade since Mortal Kombat came out, it's gonna. I feel like it's not gonna sit well with the audience, because we're not gonna see the the original cast of the Mortal Kombat franchise.
Well, but the original cast are all old already, though.
Well, not them, but I'm talking about just the characters in general.
Oh. Yeah, I can see it. Make a little prequel just to fill in that gap.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Because, if you right away pass the torch, a bunch of people are going to sit there and, where's Liu Kang? Where's this guy? Who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
So you need to establish those characters first before I hand you the torch. But I'm trying to really think of actors who could.
See, now that I think about it, the miniseries, the YouTube series, Legacy, those actors, I wouldn't mind if they came on board.
Yeah, they probably will.
They fit the role perfect, especially the guy that did Jax. Yeah. He was the guy that did Spawn back in the day.
Oh. It wasn't the best movie back in the day, but it was good.
I was disappointed that they didn't. Did they make a sequel to Spawn? They should have.
They already made a reboot of Spawn.
Yeah.
Today you need to. We got fucking 10 Batman movies and 6 Spider-Man and no Spawn.
Yeah, Spawn.
6 Spider-Man?
I don't know.
Yeah,
5.
We got 5. And they tried to walk in. Which one? Yeah. We got 5.
We got the first 3.
And then they're supposedly making
the new one with the super young.
Yeah, going super off topic with that, me and I was talking to about this. I was talking about my buddy Mike at work. Shout out to him. I don't know watch this. We were talking. He's one of my bartenders over there. The Civil War movie. Peter Parker's gonna make his first appearance there, right? And then they want to make standalone movies after that, which is weird because in the standalone movies, Peter's gonna be Spider-Man for about a year. But in Civil War, Peter has been Spider-Man for more than just
And here's the thing. They shut down the rumors about Spider-Man in Civil War.
He's just going to make a cameo, that's it.
Just like a quick little cameo, nothing.
And if they make a sequel to Civil War, he would have to be in it. He has to be in it.
Well, because he eventually becomes the leader of the Avengers, doesn't he?
No, I think he dies. In the comic book, I think he dies taking a bullet for Cap.
I thought Spider-Man in the Infinity Wars was the leader of his crew.
If I'm correct, and God, a whole bunch of comic book fans at home are like, fuck this guy, who the fuck is talking about? Get your Spider-Man right.
Because then back in the day in the Spider-Man animated series, isn't that where they had the Infinity Wars? With Iron Man and Captain America and all of them? We could have sworn he was in it.
Let me just look at the Wikipedia for Civil War, because if I'm correct, Peter Parker dies taking a bullet for Captain America.
Which, wouldn't be a bad thing, especially since they announced the new Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Miles Morales.
Yeah.
I think that's actually how he came to be.
So I wouldn't mind. That would be kind of like opening the door to a whole new Spider-Man, and people wouldn't be so upset about so many interchanging actors.
So Civil War is supposed to come out next May.
Okay.
I don't see, looking at this picture, which shows all the comic book movies that are coming out, like for the next 4 years.
Uh-huh.
And I don't see Civil War 2. So I guess that's just going to be it. You guys see Ant-Man?
I heard that movie was good.
Yeah, I heard it.
See one now?
Ant-Man. Even though I heard that the movie didn't gross and it didn't create as much revenue as the Avengers or any of the other Marvels.
Yeah, I'm probably just going to, wait till it comes out. Fantastic Four about it.
Oh, I heard that movie was horrible.
Okay, I'm trying to look this up. Just keep talking real quick.
Yeah. The Spider-Man was at one point the leader of the Avengers, but then he loses it somehow.
Does it say where he dies?
No.
Because I could have swore the comic book was called Death of Spider-Man. I think it tied into the Civil War. I could be totally.
Or it could tie in with the.
I could be totally fucking wrong right now, to be honest with you.
Well, while me and you look for that answer, let's go on.
Yeah, let's keep going.
So you mentioned Mighty Number 9.
Yeah, man.
I was, before you go on, I was hoping for something. If not even a mention to that game at Gamescom. nothing. They were completely silent on that game, on, what was it, Red Ash, on everything in terms of that game. I don't know if it's because they just didn't want to create hype because of the delay or whatever the case was. And then, Kevin was mentioning that the guy, he released a statement about it, was it? Kevin? That the guy for Mighty Number 9 released a statement?
I think,
or something like that?
I think he's very distraught that they had to delay it. He's not too thrilled that there was a delay, which that makes me happy. At least he acknowledges, hey, it sucks. I didn't want to delay it, but it's something that has to be done. Rather than just staying silent like some of these guys do, and just expect you to sit there, with fucking smile on your face and thumbs up, like, oh, I'll just wait for it. At least he went out and said, hey, it sucks. I'm sorry. I'm very upset that the game's been delayed. Well, which because of that, okay, I still got some faith in Mighty Number 9 and Red Ash. I still got some faith.
This goes back to like just take as much time as you need. You know what I mean? I'm in the camp where I don't want things to come out rushed and not be good.
Okay. Yeah.
Obviously, that don't sweet ass time like Last Guardian or something like that. But definitely don't rush it, especially something like this crowdfunded, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so I'm reading here about the Death of Spider-Man. I may be wrong. I know the comic's just called Death of Spider-Man. And Parker takes a bullet for Cap. It was Punisher trying to assassinate Captain America. But I'm not seeing if it ties in with Civil War at all. So I could be just completely wrong. Which I'm starting to think I am. I apologize.
I mean, no worries. Like, it's one of those things that we'll just have to wait and see. And
yeah, because I think we've noticed movies never stick to the comics anyhow.
They always find a way to do like a cinematic turn or curve that no matter what, they just do it. They look at it. Okay, what makes more money? What are the fans gonna enjoy more? General fans. That's
even if he did die in Civil War, you can't really kill him anyways if you plan on making these standalone movies.
Right.
So, like I said, it's weird. Like my buddy Mike said, it is very weird for the fact that they should have released these Spider-Man solo films first.
Right.
That way you can lead into Civil War where he's been Spider-Man the whole time.
Which makes me think, wasn't that their plan all along when they had Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man?
Mm-hmm.
So what made them drop him?
I think he backed off.
Really?
I think so.
Because I thought they backed out on him.
I think he backed out.
I'm sorry, viewers. We just took a completely 180-degree turn on the topics, and now it's...
It is what it is.
Interesting.
You're, just enjoy the ride.
Which makes me wonder, when are they going to make an Avengers game?
I don't think they should.
Why not? I mean, because they have all these mobile games, but...
I mean, games like The Amazing Spider-Man work. I enjoy those.
Right.
I never played the Thor one. I think there was a Thor one.
Not for console. It was strictly mobile.
What do you think about an Avengers game for console? Would it work?
I mean, Spider-Man worked.
How would it be done?
The same way other comic book movies, comic book movie games.
The only other comic book movie game I played is just The Amazing Spider-Man.
Was it good?
They made one for Max Payne. They made one for Max Payne with Mark Wahlberg.
The ones from I played the ones from the Tobey Maguire era. Played those are good, and the ones with Andrew Garfield were awesome. I just love the whole playing a story, but also being able to swing through the city and do side missions. And then they had this whole you were able to unlock all these costumes from the comic books. And obviously, and I've said it before, my favorite costume will always be the Black Symbiote costume. I do like Spider-Man 29's outfit. That is a really cool outfit.
For me, I'd only buy it if it was a completely new storyline, not just like
not the movies.
I
wouldn't want them to design it after the movie. I wouldn't want them to design the characters off the movie. No offense to them, they're great, the actors, but if you're gonna do eventually release, stay true to the comic. Don't design it after the actors that are in the movies now.
So it turns out it wasn't Andrew Garfield that stepped down.
So they
Sony fired him.
Okay.
And it was mostly because he went to, it says Rio, for like an event to like promote Spider-Man and all that stuff. And he had just arrived in Rio. And was it Sony? The Sony chief, Kaz Hirai, was wanting to introduce Garfield and have Garfield talk in front of all the guests, like 750 people. And Garfield snubbed him and said no. So essentially, he insulted him by saying, no, you know, I guess he didn't think too much of it. I guess he had just arrived in Rio, just gotten off his flight. I guess he just wanted to rest, and I guess that left, bad taste in the guy in
That's pretty shitty, though. I mean, to fire him over that.
Well, then the fact that Spider-Man 2 was the ratings, and
This is the second movie?
Yeah, it flopped.
Yeah, I like the first one better.
Yeah.
The only thing I liked about the second one was I felt like Andrew Garfield really was able to bring the emotion when he couldn't say win.
Oh yeah.
He really brought that.
See, and then
what I liked about Garfield Spider-Man, I mean, not to cut you off, what I love about him is, unlike Tobey's, he wasn't crying all the time.
Yeah. And his personality, he was more of that like.
He was cocky.
That cocky, like wisecrack,
He's a smart ass, like Parker is, or Spider-Man is, right?
And but with the second movie, I didn't know how I felt about Jamie Foxx's character.
Yeah, playing Electro.
I thought he was okay.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, I would look at him and I just didn't get too convinced.
I didn't either.
Of him being, that character. Especially just because before that, the fact that he had his hair like a little bit messed up, and reminded me of the other movie he made with Robert Downey Jr. The Soloist. The one where he like was a homeless dude and he was like playing the violin. It was a really good movie, but the way they built the character, it was too similar. I mean, and I liked the one he did with Robert Downey Jr. That's why whenever I saw him before he turned into the guy, I was like, this is not working. I'm just picturing him picking up a violin and just playing it.
But so what else we got?
All right, so moving on. So going more into Gamescom, and there was kind of a lot of stuff that they announced. So the Dark Souls 3 was shown, and that game, sick. And I mean, like, graphics were on point. The gameplay was awesome. I'm probably not gonna play it because it would probably, piss me off and get me into rage mode. But they interviewed the creator of the game. And he teased at making more projects based, not Dark Souls, but like based on that
gameplay. Kind of cool, man. I like that.
Here's the kicker: sci-fi versions.
That'd be great. That would be awesome. Yeah, because I think we got to a point where we've exhausted all of our medieval type of games. I think we've exhausted that now, and we need to move forward.
It's time to go back into the sci-fi realm.
Yeah,
because that's how it was before. Like all these medieval games, it was all sci-fi.
I feel like maybe the last 5 or 6 years, a lot of the medieval type games have just dominated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dragon stuff.
Yeah, that was another good one.
Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Dragon Age.
And Dark Souls.
Sure.
Yeah, it's medieval. And then one game that I forgot about a while. I had it on the 360. I loved it, and a lot of people don't know much about it. It's Kingdom of Amalur. That game.
I have it.
That game is amazing. So underrated. Just came out around the same time as Skyrim, so it didn't get that same flight. But that game was mind blowing. And again, medieval.
I haven't played it yet.
You should. It's definitely worth it. The storyline is great.
Okay. And so, you guys want to see like a shift back to
kind of. I think we need it right now.
Yeah. Well, Fallout is futuristic.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
But I think Kevin's gamer thumbs are itching for like a little Dead Space.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. Since Dead Space 3 ended on a fucking cliffhanger.
And with this guy, I think he could go there. Especially, he makes his game so challenging.
And if we go there, I think that's when it'll be time to capitalize on finally doing Dead Space 4, which has been talked about, which never materialized. And I get it. Dead Space 3 did not sell all that well, and for obvious reasons. They didn't focus on their horror factor anymore.
Yeah.
They just based the whole freaking game off the graphics. Which, I love the graphics. I did. I love being able to float through freaking space and seeing a fucking planet in front of me. But I didn't like the fact that the game didn't really give me any jump scares anymore. It was very predictable. Unlike Dead Space 1 and 2, you couldn't predict the jump scares.
Oh. I watched the gameplay of Markiplier.
Yeah.
That, like, again, it just made me regret not buying those games when they came out.
I recently just, when the Gamescom started, and picked up.
You got Dead Space 1, and I got 2 and 3.
Like, I'm waiting for this backwards compatibility, and if they offer Dead Space...
They should, because then they can capitalize on Dead Space 4.
Which would make sense.
That way you can play all of them on your current gen console. Yeah, I've been waiting for a Dead Space 4, something similar to it, you know. It's like this article I read on Sony where we're having this, like, the horror genre is just having this, like, renaissance lately. You know, like games like The Evil Within, you know, things like that, and,
Resident Evil and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Did you see the thing I showed you about Silent Hill?
Oh, I didn't get to read that. What was it again?
How they're coming out with, I believe it was...
the Pachinko thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty funny. They got rid of Kojima, canceled Silent Hill, and now they're coming out with that, and
Yeah, it's so stupid. Like, we're gonna go ahead and, like, kill all the, cancel Silent Hills.
Or they could have done it with, what the hell's his name?
Kojima?
No, fucker from Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah.
We could have had a Silent Hill with them, which I thought would have been so cool.
Right, and I think they just downgraded the image of that franchise so much.
Right, exactly.
And I'm surprised that people are actually... I mean, there's people obviously like us that are just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, of course.
But people are actually looking forward to it.
That's weird.
And obviously...
Because, Silent Hill Room was my favorite. That one was... God, man, that was 10 times as trippy, man.
Yeah.
A lot of fans don't like anything after 3. It just kind of seriously just kind of fell off.
Which we talked about last time. They did slowly fall off, and then they had those little hiccups.
I haven't played the room or anything else, so I can't really say, but
it's really trippy, dude. It's scary, it's trippy, the music is... And that's another thing with me, I'm big on soundtracks. I am huge on soundtracks.
Well, it makes the game.
Yeah. If the story's good, you have a shitty soundtrack, your game is garbage to me.
Yeah.
Because it won't hook me. Like with the room, it was a PS2 game, so the graphics weren't necessarily like, on point. Obviously for that generation, but the music and the monsters that are in that game, the music was just it tied it up so well.
Which lately, music has been something that's either made or broken the game.
Yeah.
Like Witcher has done a really good job with their music.
I can agree with that.
Fallout's always done a really good job with their music. And the little radio that you turn on from your boy. Like New Vegas did such an awesome job with that. So, I mean, it's always been something.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And that's why Final Fantasy, I love it so much, and the music is so good.
Right.
And Zelda too.
Yeah.
And that's why those games, like, they have symphonies, they travel to play music on those games. It's that good.
That's how, and again, if Sebastian were here, he would be like, that's how you know a game has reached a completely different level of greatness. When their music is, like, loved and it's seen, not just in the game, but that it's, like, the other day I was watching a video of a guy that was playing the Mario, music just on his violin.
Oh, yeah.
And that was awesome.
Did you see that? Like,
I've seen that,
he played it, he didn't play it, he played it with the gameplay.
Yeah, with the power-ups, too.
With the sound effects, too.
Great.
With the coins and then all that, and, like, going down to the other little pipe, and that was great.
It was. And in the end, lately, soundtracks have been either making or breaking things. Even with the lack of storyline for some of these games, the soundtrack can still really help it.
Like one game. I don't know if you guys remember it. I didn't buy it. Jazz bought it, and then she regretted it and returned it. But do you remember it was like a zombie game, like a cheerleader-looking chick? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Chainsaw Lollipop.
There we go.
Chainsaw Lollipop.
That soundtrack, in my opinion, had nothing to do with the game. It ruined it. Don't get me wrong. The game had that appeal to it.
Based off of famous cosplayer Jessica Green.
Yeah, right.
I know that.
Yeah. But just the soundtrack was just so. It lost my interest. Like I tried playing it.
Okay, yeah. The thing with that game is you throw a cute girl in there, but the game sucked.
Yeah.
The game looked like trash.
It was like a wannabe. What was that?
It was basically It was Evil Dead if My Little Pony invaded.
I can see that comparison.
Because, I mean, you got this chick who's apparently, she carries her boyfriend's head around, he still talks.
Yeah.
He's still alive. And her chainsaw legit just slices rainbows into zombies. The game had no... The game was garbage, okay? The game was complete fucking garbage. It was a slap in the face to Evil Dead that has a guy who uses a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Did you buy it?
Fuck no.
Did you play it?
Fuck no.
Oh, you like talking about it.
Yeah, it was...
I just saw a gameplay trailer. I said, "What the fuck is?" I just saw the trailer and immediately. I immediately saw the trailer and just. I literally started with
I know they made that game to kind of appeal to girls, or like how
Jack. What to me that's also kind of a sexist way to appeal to the female audience.
Right.
Hey, let's give you this chick, this cheerleader with a chainsaw, some rainbows, and her, fucking like jock boyfriend. It's a sexist way to appeal to the
because the game was easy. It was very easy to play. The barely any combos. It was just a button mash game. And we all know, nothing against girl gamers. I know there's girl gamers out there.
The dudes playing that, they didn't want to just button mash them.
Right, but that's admit, when girls play video games, if they're not hardcore gamers, they just button mash.
Yeah.
Anyone else that appeal to that?
Oh yeah, I play Smash. Pikachu.
No, Jazz, my hero gets to the point where whenever we play Mortal Kombat or Killer Instinct, she just grabs her controller, and you know the Xbox controller works. She doesn't even hold the trigger. She just grabs these two fingers, holds it like this on top of the 4 buttons, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
That was like,
and it works.
That was like our pre-pro gamer era. When we used to have to do that as children.
Right. And it works. I mean,
it does work. It does.
And whenever I'm bored and I just want to, F her up, I'll resort. She learned that from me, basically. Just whenever I'm bored, when I don't have a challenge, I'll just be, I don't really have to worry about combos. Let me just.
The only time I'll button mash is when I'm trying to figure out a game I've never played.
Right.
And once I've got the basic combo system down, I think I'm good. I don't have to fucking, hit everything.
Right, and I've got to that Mortal Kombat.
And Tekken is one of those games where button mashing will help you. Exponentially help you. Especially on PlayStation, it's one of those just square and triangle. You're literally hitting all those fucking combos.
I mean, back in like the late '90s, I think that's what fighting games essentially was.
Yeah, like Killer Instinct. I remember distinctly playing that on Super Nintendo. Button mashing just my.
That's all it was.
The Super Nintendo controller, I feel like, was not designed for combos. That was not designed for a combo system.
Yeah, Genesis was one.
And the combos you had were about 30 buttons fucking long. Nobody wanted to sit there and remember. Okay, up, down, left, right, B, A, down, 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 up, up. Fuck. Shit, I hit it wrong. Fuck.
Right.
Old block.
Dude, I'll be honest. I have never hit a fatality once. I could never learn those fucking.
Yeah. Even now in Mortal Kombat, like.
So when it says finish him, I'm just like.
I just pressed like the bumper where they do like some type of it's not a fatality, but it's just like a really nice.
Oh, okay.
Which I'll admit, I feel like I grasped onto Injustice pretty fast. I would grasp onto that pretty quick, even using your joystick controller.
Yeah.
That arcade style shit. I mean, I had to button mash for a little bit of it.
Fighting games is essentially, the principles are the same. Back to block usually. Mortal Kombat. And light punch, you have light punch, you sometimes medium punch, you take high punch, and combo.
I'll be one of those fucking things Mortal Kombat. Duck and kick.
Yeah.
Duck kick.
Jump kick, uppercut.
that sometimes.
Yeah, the ones who just do the uppercut over and over. My brother was one of those.
Again, I do that to piss her off even more. I corner her up against the side of the, and I just don't let her get up. She's like, stop doing this, you're cheating.
It's not cheating.
Alright, and just really quick, I just wanted to bring up, since we were talking about Killer Instinct, that new character.
Oh, yeah,
the frog.
Yeah. I don't know who the hell that is, to be honest with you. I really don't know who the frog is.
Because
you said he's not even from Killer Instinct.
No.
Which is freaking weird, because now Killer Instinct is taking pages out of Mortal Kombat's book. Introducing people who are not.
Which, I mean, if you look at it, it's a smart decision to keep up with.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that they're introducing new characters. I haven't seen them, but I think.
No, it definitely is cool, because after a while, those same characters will get stale. They will get stale. Which, hey, I don't blame Killer Instinct for taking a page out of Mortal Kombat's book. Shit, man, more power to you.
So the character's name is Rash, from the classic game Battletoads.
Oh, God. Okay, now I gotta say something about that. That is just fucking weird. God, at least I understand Jason and Predator and Kruger from Mortal Kombat, but
that's what I said.
I mean, you might as well throw Frogger in there.
That's what I said. Like, he does not match the
and
rest of the game.
You might as well throw Frogger in there when he comes out. Dun, 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 you know? Oh, it's weird. Next, you're gonna see Earthworm Jim up in that bitch.
Which they did announce a new game.
Oh,
for
okay.
Yeah,
it's been how long?
Like a small, like, indie film development.
Like over a decade.
I think it's
had a game.
It's going to be done by the people who have been doing the little worm games. The little strategy. I mean, it's like the small.
Okay, like a puzzle kind of.
Like, yeah, it's like you control like little worms on the screen and like you just have them attack each other.
Okay.
It's just like one of those arcade games, but yeah, they
so
took on
weird
Worm Jim. Yeah.
So weird.
Oh yeah.
Like, what the hell was that?
So going on, I think this game might, and we were talking about how Fallout, we talked about, Fallout might be the best game this year. Witcher, what other game that you mentioned? It wasn't Battlefront.
Black Ops 3?
It came out this year.
Yeah, then we were talking about, like, there's no one that can compete with.
I mean, can we go on, we can definitely go on a limb and say, Batman is no longer in the running
for
Game of the Year.
Not even close. Especially after they released the DLC with Batgirl. I heard that they dropped the ball with it so much because it was only a couple of hours long.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt they fucked up with that.
And you only get to play with her for those couple of hours. And that's it. And essentially, it's nothing new.
People want a game where you don't have to just play as Batman after the main story. You want to be able to switch into a different character.
And that's why people have been creating mods.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny.
The Alfred one.
The Alfred and the director for the game. Because the director put himself in the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Just as like a citizen just walking around. But fans found out that he just did that. Kind of like how, what's his name? The old guy that always puts himself, Stanley always puts himself in the movies, like a small cameo. Yeah. So they grabbed his model and kind of.
Yeah, you got him and Alfred kicking some ass out there, man. But people want to be able to play as Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, instead of just having to play as Bruce for the entire.
Right.
After the main story, I can understand having to play as Bruce. You have to. But after it's done, I mean, why not be able to play as Robin?
Because in the last Batman game, you were able to switch to Catwoman.
Yeah, I think so for Arkham City or not Origin.
No, Arkham City, you were able to switch to Catwoman and do a couple of set of missions for her, collect the little Riddler question marks, and even Robin. Yeah, I would have
stopped
trying to get those. Some of those challenges were just too much to try and unlock.
Yeah.
But one game I think that can contend with them, Crackdown 3.
I have never even heard of that game.
You've never heard of Crackdown?
No.
Have you?
Crackdown?
Yeah. So this is gonna be the third one. So essentially, what it is, it's like in a fantasy like metropolis, and you get to be like a super cop. So like a bioengineered, full of steroids, not necessarily steroids, but you have like enhancements to yourself. Yeah. And the metropolis, the city's overrun with gangs and.
So essentially, you're good Bane. You're all fucking jacked up.
Exactly.
You're good.
And as you level up, your abilities level up. Like you're able to jump super high. So it's not realistic at all. But it was really fun. I played the first one.
What did it come out for?
The original one came out for the 360. And I think they had it for PlayStation 5. No, actually no. Microsoft Studios exclusive. So maybe that's why you haven't.
Okay.
But the second one came out, and they tried to do like this whole zombie thing. Horrible. But they're coming out with a new one. And the game is just huge. And it builds off of the graphics are better. But here's the thing that blew me away. When you play multiplayer, so single player, well, you won't be able to do that. But multiplayer, every single building in the city could potentially get destroyed.
I don't know why this reminded me of way off topic. The N64, SNES and N64 game Rampage is getting a movie. Rampage. Did you ever play Rampage?
Yeah, the whole
Rampage where you played as a lizard, a mouse, or a fucking lobster, or a gorilla, and you just destroy buildings.
Yeah.
Destroy buildings.
That's getting a live action movie with the Rockstar in it. It's gonna lay a smackdown on those giant monsters.
and I thought Pixels would send a message to be like, no
just
more
stop.
of those.
No, but you got those corporate.
No, but I heard it was the moment they announced the whole cast. As soon as I saw Kevin James as the president, like,
see, you got this one fucker, this corporate guy, and he's got like this fucking white cat, and he's all, we're gonna fuck over every video game. Pixels, okay. Get ready to see your beloved Pac-Man. And now you got fucking Rampage essentially with The Rock ready to fucking lay the smackdown on these monsters and shit.
And then Steven Spielberg announced that he was going to make a video game type movie too.
Right, he's in that room with that guy.
The game is, I forget what the game is called, but essentially it's supposed to be in the future where you know how you have like the MMO where like kind of like Sims, where you can create your own character and just like live whichever way you want. It's going to essentially be like that, like the Bruce Willis movie. It came out not too long ago. I forgot what it was called. But where like you like.
So this game is like a virtual thing?
Yeah, like
so it's
a virtual, like you live in the virtual world instead of.
So essentially it's going to end with some fat dude taking off his fucking his Oculus Rift. And then saying, well, that was fun.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's how it's going to end.
Yeah, that's definitely a realm.
So Rampage getting a movie. Next, you're going to fucking see Conker's Bad Fur Day. He's going to be an animated squirrel just flipping everybody off. And
Donkey Kong's gonna get one soon.
That's the hell that might be the new King Kong reboot we're talking about. Yeah, the fucking dude taking him out some dude in their overalls.
Planet of the Apes.
That goes back to that rumor about like supposedly Nintendo and Disney getting together to make some type of movie or something.
Another Smash Bros. Oh no, not Smash Bros. Mario Brothers.
The only thing I may have found funny, and I didn't see Pixels, but from the trailer, is when the creator of Pac-Man said, "Oh my son, look at you! You won't hurt me. Kill it!"
Like kill it!
So yeah, Rampage is weird. The Rock and like rock bottom, one of those monsters.
So just like Rampage, you get to destroy every building in Crackdown 3, which the way that the guy was explaining it, in a video game that big is impossible.
Okay.
Because there's so much that gets put into it. Because the way he explained it, you can just pick up a gun and just make a hole in any wall, in any window. But if you think about it, if you can make a hole in any wall, that means that every wall is connected to a room, and every room is reachable, and so forth and so forth. So that game is huge. And they actually said it's the first time that the game is actually. And the only reason it's doing it online is because the Xbox doesn't have enough power to keep up with that type of memory usage.
See, that's the thing, we keep making these gigantic games and they're taking up so much room.
So they're connecting it to the cloud.
Are they?
So they're going to get servers from the cloud specifically just for that game.
Now we ain't even in gigabytes anymore. We got fucking, terabytes and
shit?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Right, I didn't know it existed until I had to go out and buy a hard drive myself. But at one point, I think when he was destroying it in the gameplay, they were using 7 servers. So it was just through the Xbox, just through the actual Xbox memory, the RAM, and then 6 other cloud servers just to create the destruction. So the realism in that game is just awesome.
Makes me wonder, as big as it is, are we going to see a lot of glitches from it, from how big it is?
I mean, and that's why they use the cloud for it, because according to him, there's no glitches, because in offline mode, there's none of that. Everything is stationary, and there's going to be no, complete destruction.
They're able to enhance like the processing power of the systems too through the cloud, not just memory, not just space, but actual processing power too, so the games can run better.
Yeah. So I mean, and that just points the direction that gaming's going. I mean, we could potentially in the next couple of years be looking at games that are just.
I always thought about this before we move into other topics. I can't believe I didn't tell you to write this down. Let's talk about the Void, a place that might be opening up in San Diego, a virtual reality theme park.
Say what?
Yeah, we are all fucking moving to San Diego. It's already been decided. Okay, so essentially, you have to watch the trailer for it. So essentially, what it is, it's a theme park that is it's all VR. And so let's say you want to do like, take The Witcher for example. You want to put yourself in that world. You will put on this headset, full on like a little bodysuit for your, upper torso, and they have like these little, I want to call them like a maze almost that you can walk through. So if in The Witcher you're walking, let's say through a cave that has spider webs, they will have like these strings from the ceiling that you can legit touch to emulate it. If something broke and steam is popping out in front of you in the game, there's a guy with a lever who's letting some steam out that will hit you like that, and it's crazy. It's supposed to emulate the games. They have shit that's like some Call of Duty-ish kind of fantasy.
Because they have the vest that you can wear in Call of Duty.
You can look it up on YouTube.
Where every shot, like there's a vest, like if you get shot in the game.
Yeah, I saw that for like Kickstarter, and that would freak me out because
that actually came out.
You get shot a lot in Call of Duty, and imagine getting shot like 20 times.
And you said it's called The Void?
The Void. Let's see what you get over there.
So while I'm looking at this, so the next thing I wanted to talk about, which I'm personally really excited about, just because of the dynamic that the game brings, Quantum Break.
Oh yeah, you're talking about Quantum Break, yeah.
So essentially, the game itself looks amazing, just because it's real actors, like that one actor from X-Men that did the ice whatever dude. And essentially, what it is, you can control time, you can freeze it. It's a lot of a lot of shooting, a lot of fighting.
It sounds like something I'd play.
And it's really, really good. And it's based in like present day, so it's not like too futuristic to the point where it's like Mass Effect. But the dynamic for that game, there's a TV show for it.
Oh yeah.
Created by the same people, same actors, same everything, and it's on Sci-Fi. And the game's point of view is more in the protagonist, as where the show gives you more of the point of view of the antagonist. So it plays off of each other.
Okay.
So as you're playing the game, there'll be events, because the show already starts, so there'll be events in the game where you'll be like, so that's why that happened in the show. Or vice versa, like something will happen in the show, and then like when something happens in the game, you'll be like, that's why, or like if there's a mystery, like, oh, why is this thing?
I like that, it's pretty cool.
So it's a really good dynamic, and then I think it's the first time that a video game ever integrates itself
with the show itself.
With like a TV or like any other reference.
Imagine that. I mean, imagine not being able to pass a level because you missed last week's episode. Like, imagine how fucked you are. I mean, if they're like new episodes, it's hard to go up on YouTube and find the new episodes. Right. You're just sitting there waiting for a rerun. I've been waiting 2 long weeks for this.
Well, because the show started in April, and the game isn't going to come out until later, I believe. So I don't think it's going to get to the point where it's, if you haven't watched the show, you're completely screwed. I think it's more like if you watch the show, you're going to have more backstory, more, to understand what's going to go on in the game.
That's pretty cool, though.
Which I feel like games should do that more often. Or like
yeah, definitely, dude. I agree. YouTube?
I mean, there's an article on NBC about it.
The Void?
Yeah.
The video.
The Void plans virtual reality theme park.
Yeah, it's incredible. Again, shout out to my buddy Mike. He's the one who showed it to me.
Nice.
He was like, you guys FGN. I'm like, what the hell is the voice? The hell is that? Sounds terrifying.
So the next thing, I've always been a fan of Fable.
Okay, yeah, I never got to get into Fable, but
I kind of played 2.
It does look interesting.
I got really into 3, and then they did they flopped the Connect version of Fable. But Fable Legends is coming out.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw anything of that.
I didn't.
Did you, Doug?
No.
Fable Legends?
No.
So,
I think I want to do Fable 1.
So essentially, Fable Legends, it's primarily a co-op game.
Okay.
So, and there's 2 sides to the game. You can either play as one of 4 heroes, or you play as the villain. And if you play as one of 4 heroes, you have to obviously go and defeat the villain. As where if you're the villain,
you guys defeat all 4.
You see it from an overview point of view, and you essentially decide what troops you send out, what traps you put,
Oh, that's really cool.
like all the obstacles that your friends would eventually have to pass to get to you. And again, Microsoft exclusive, obviously, and it's changing the way games are played.
That is really cool.
Because it changes the dynamics, and it
Right.
actually makes you think and strategize. Like if we were on to play, I would be like, okay, Doug and Kevin are coming for me. Let me place this perfectly timed over right here, and then after that I'll put the traps here. I mean, and it keeps true to the Fable graphics too.
That is great. Yeah, I might actually buy that.
I mean, it was definitely announced as one of their top games for the upcoming lineup.
Yeah, definitely for a reason too.
So kind of steering away from the games a little bit and going more into the technology part of it. And I got 2 topics for the technology: one for Xbox, one for PlayStation.
Okay.
Because I don't want to leave PlayStation and Sony out of it.
Pissed me off.
But Xbox announced the chat hat.
Yeah,
which is something gamers have been asking for the
little
longest.
QWERTY keyboard for the Xbox controller.
Did they have that already?
No.
They did.
No, we had something similar for the Xbox 360, but it wasn't that little QWERTY keyboard.
No, it's like it's actually like nice. It has like all the keys. Has a record button. Has like 2 other function buttons. Volume.
I mean,
It wasn't created by Microsoft.
Yeah.
It was created by a third-party company. This one's specifically
straight up QWERTY keyboard, man.
Like, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Like the thing that you hooked up on top of it and you have a keyboard on top. Yeah, okay.
Because I think the one for the 360 didn't have an audio jack.
No, not that I
So
know.
you could either put in your headset or just use the chat. This one has an audio jack on the bottom.
Okay.
That's great.
So it doesn't take away.
So what games utilize like on 360 text chat?
For 360?
Yeah.
There's a lot of like the online games. I feel like that's social. I know for the current gen, Destiny is a big one that you probably utilize it for.
Yeah.
I say like Call of Duty, especially if I'm playing with a group of friends who are more competitive. It's a way to strategize rather than because everyone can hear you on the mic. I'm not giving you my fucking battle plan on the mic, so I can sit there and I'm able to let all of
in a game like that.
Well, for Call of Duty, usually when you start a brand new match, they give you a good maybe 20, 30 seconds before the match starts. And that should be
scout out ahead and see any
be
potential.
But then again, I mean, there's also the whole getting into a party, a private party, so you can talk to your people like that.
Yeah, that's usually what I do. I just keep it private.
So the rest of the people can't hear you.
Right.
But just in the event you're not like that, I mean.
But it's more fun to be able to like be in public and just talk smack to like everybody else.
So it gives you time to kind of just do your thing real quick and hey.
And the fact that it's laid out like like that, it's
we're gonna do like capture the flag, for example. So and so, I want you to go capture A. We're gonna go this way.
Yeah, there's been controller keyboard hybrids before, like for the PlayStation 2 and GameCube. They had one where it's like the keyboard is a full size like laptop type of keyboard, and like so it's like that, and then on here they have the controller like PlayStation and
oh wow.
You play like that, and yeah.
That sounds like too much fucking work. I mean, like this. I'm trying to fucking
go work out for your forearms.
But surprisingly, it
is. If you got your damn drinks down here, you're all. that.
I don't know if I have one somewhere. I mean, that's what I use for the games like Final Fantasy 11, MMORPGs, online RPGs like Xenoverse.
Yeah, like for Xenoverse would work great.
Yeah, so I mean, the games like that.
Right, definitely.
Xenoverse would work great for the fact that you can't really do voice chat with the like massive amount of people that are in it. It's gonna be an influx of too many people talking. So that would work rather than giving us the little presets that Dragon Ball Xenoverse gives us. Because with the little preset text they give us, I'm a little annoyed by it, especially now. Because literally all I can say is, I'm going to the shop. I'm going to do a mission. Want to help me level up?
I love it. I love it. Only Japanese games will do that. I love it. That's the whole thing. Back when online games first came out, that's what they added a lot.
Yeah, the preset. And I feel, and for me at least, one game that's going to come out for the Xbox that they announced heavily in Gamescom, Ark.
Oh yeah, Ark, man, yeah.
Have you seen footage for it yet?
Not yet, man, but I want to play it from everything you told me. I want to play it.
Oh my god! And they amped the graphics, like they announced. They put a trailer just for console, amped the graphics, amped the gameplay, the guns, like there's guns in it. It just awesome.
I mean, speaking of Gamescom, we were talking a little bit earlier before we started recording. Xbox has this great lineup of original titles.
Yeah.
Which is great. Like it's like I was actually telling you yesterday. I feel like the last 5 or 6 years, we've done nothing but focus on prequels, and sequels, and trilogies, rather than coming out with original titles to create sequels.
They've been extending the life of like every game.
Yeah, rather than creating original titles that we can eventually get a sequel for, or a trilogy for. We've just literally just been extending the life of all these games, and it's to a point where it's harming these franchises more than it is doing good for them. There are some franchises that it's helping, that it's doing great. But then you got the few that it's like, do I really want to sit here and play another installment?
Gears of War, for example.
Assassin's Creed.
Like Halo, I'm not a big fan of Halo. I'm sorry, but I feel like that's the one game I'm okay with them, continuing it just because it's original, and they always do something to like twist it, and it's not every game is like a sequel to the last.
That makes sense, yeah.
There's always like a different.
You like Halo?
I never got into it.
I never got to play it on time, and I'm at a point now where if I jump in, I'm just gonna feel like shit.
That's like the one shooter that I really got into. And it's probably the last one.
I mean, I play multiplayer a lot with my friends, so I have to give Halo props. I think Halo kind of changed the way we saw like online, like that matches online.
And that's what I love about it too.
No doubt, I remember seeing online play on the original Xbox when it was starting to become a thing. Online play. My buddy Trevor was always playing Halo, and I was like, you're playing with people that don't have to be in your room. Holy shit! Yeah, right.
Xbox really like it. I guess Xbox for being especially being bored with that.
That part.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like some.
So guys, I will put you on pause just for a second. Bear with us. Okay, so we just saw the video for Ark.
It was great. It reminds me of like Turok.
Yeah.
And Turok was a great game.
Except for that reboot that they did. They tried rebooting the series for the 360, which
that's fucked up.
It didn't go so
Turok
well.
on N64.
Yeah. Well, because with the reboot that they did for the 360, they tried to make it. It wasn't as open world. It was more. At the time, it was very linear, very like, okay, you got to go through this little passageway, like that.
Okay. Yeah, so I like Ark. And then jumping back on now, it's the QWERTY keyboard. We're talking about Sony's got their own type of thing now, which I think they dropped the goddamn ball. I mean, they got a keyboard, but then you got a fucking vibrating wrist pad or whatever it was.
So no, it's an actual keyboard. So a computer keyboard.
Okay.
A mouse, and then a vibrating wrist pad that kind of resembles the rumble.
Is that to let you know somebody messages you?
I don't know if they intended for it to be for gameplay. If you decide to play certain games on the PlayStation, and it resembles like the same thing as having like the rumble packs on the controllers. But I mean, I feel like it's
Sony's way of saying, damn it, you guys did something good. Let's try to make something better.
Right, because Microsoft did announce that the new Microsoft 10 was going to be compatible with keyboard and mouse. So they're like, oh yeah, let's just throw in the vibrating wristband and hope it takes off. Which, I mean, it could end up being something completely awesome.
It could, but I think they need to tweak it a little bit.
Right.
Because what I'm hearing right now doesn't sound like super great.
And then going back to Xbox, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I feel like you said, Xbox is just throwing in all their chips.
Yeah.
They just announced that the Xbox will be able to serve as a DVR.
Yeah, that's great, man, because you don't need a subscription for it.
Right, and it's
I mean, I don't watch too much TV these days, but I mean, it's still kind of cool.
Right, especially now with the one use for it I thought of it was called Quantum Break.
Yeah.
So the TV show it has, so I could be playing the game and I could just be like, I don't want to stop playing the game, let me just DVR the show.
Well, you do the same thing every Monday night for Raw too.
Right.
You're like really in the zone.
Or like today, since I'm here doing the podcast, I wouldn't be able to miss Raw. And to be able to get. I mean, given the fact that I have Comcast and the DVR thing, blah blah blah, but then it still adds to the capability of being on Comcast. I can just leave that for my girlfriend to record her thing. Xbox to my zone.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And they also announced, before I forget, you will be able to record games and stuff and store it on the DVR as well. Because up until now, you've only been able to take pictures of your games and take small bits of video. As to where now you could probably, if you play Call of Duty, record a whole match.
Which should be awesome because I had some really cool moments of Call of Duty, my final kills and all this other stuff. And I sit there and I don't get a chance to record it. And that would be great to be able to upload entire matches and whatnot.
So I feel like Xbox, and I said this in my quick vid, the last generation for the PS3 360, I feel like the PS3 took the trophy in terms of being an all-around rounded entertainment system.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, let's put it in the words of Vince McMahon. They essentially grabbed the brass ring.
Right, and the 360 for me remained just an all-around better gaming console.
So me too.
Just because it was more based on gaming. PS3 was an all-around, if you want an entertainment system, if you want a Blu-ray player, if you want movies and stuff like that, PS3. And I feel like this generation, PS4 started off dominating that. But now with all these additions and all of this that's going on, I feel like Xbox, their mission now is to kind of take that away from Sony and just say, you know what, we're going to be the all-around.
But we can still do gaming, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Xbox still remains my number one console.
Oh yeah,
no matter what.
I can't see myself ever switching.
Neither can I. I mean,
especially after watching Gamescom, I'm like, nope.
I have no
Microsoft.
I mean, if E3 wasn't good enough, I mean, Gamescom's done literally.
It's one of Microsoft is the worst next time to put myself as a lifetime Microsoft gamer.
Where can I put myself? All over the world.
If Microsoft had an Illuminati kind of thing.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, I'll be all up on that shit.
And once you get approached by somebody on their way home.
Literally just, long cloak.
We just sensed your call.
People watching.
You excited?
Yeah, the whole trench coat. We've been watching.
So, going into the realm of VR.
Yes.
And it's something that we've talked about and we've preached about it just because it's the future of gaming. Start things off, HTC unveiled their new VR headset. It's called the HTC Vive.
Okay, before we continue on with that, what exactly would work for the HTC Vive? What kind of phone would you need to power this type of games? Is it for the phones? Or is it just HTC?
No, it's just HTC creating a product that would be able to work.
Okay, I was about to say, because I don't see shit happening on the phone.
No. But it's just HTC's way. Kind of keeping up with Sony and Microsoft.
Okay.
And they had it for the fans to try, and it wasn't like games or anything, but you could put it on, and you could
what's your impression of it?
It looked good.
Can it compete with Oculus and whatever?
I think it's better than Oculus.
Do you? Okay.
And that's just because I wasn't too impressed with Oculus from what I've seen.
Yeah, Oculus I feel like advertised too roller coaster type simulations.
Right.
I mean, maybe a few horror games,
but nothing like the HoloLens or nothing like.
Oh God, no, nothing
Morpheus
like
from Sony.
Yeah.
You know, so and the HTC, they didn't show any gameplay, but they showed like, you know, you could walk through a meadow, or, you know, balloons would pop up at you, or, you know, things like that, just showing the capability of what it is, and it's leaning more towards the HoloLens, more towards,
cool.
You know, those things. And then what was a couple episodes ago we talked about how Nokia.
Yeah.
Bought into the VR thing too. So I mean, everyone's just jumping on board with the VR.
Because no one's solidified themselves as the true VR company, you know, so everyone's like, we have to grasp for it.
Now my question is, when is Nintendo going to wake up and say, we have to get on board with this before we get left behind?
In a way, I mean, I could be really wrong about this, but I think they already have, and that's what the NX is. Okay. The NX might be that, and they're just keeping it super under wraps, just to protect themselves, so no ideas they're
stolen and stuff like that.
Well, that too. Just keep the hype under wraps, and that way it's not shit. If we're talking about stuff, competition, take our ideas, and essentially create something better than what we have. It's a way of protecting their
I can see that. Yeah, no, I can definitely see that. No, and it kind of reminds me of when Nintendo came out with the N64.
Yeah.
Because they didn't create too much hype about the N64. They said that they were creating an N64, but they didn't, you know, try and put it out there as, oh yeah, we're going to blow away, you know, Sega, we're going to blow away all this other competition. No, they just stayed quiet about it. And then when the N64 came out, it was, in my opinion, it was very successful.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, they definitely, you know, revolutionized the 3D gaming. I remember playing Donkey Kong. I remember playing Pokemon Stadium.
Yeah, dude. Of course.
Nintendo needs to bring. They need to bring back Pokemon Stadium.
As many freaking Pokemon as they are, Pokemon Stadium at this point would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand why we stopped doing it.
Because that game was so popular.
Oh, dude.
I would play that like non-stop. Like,
yeah, with as many Pokemon as there are now, why not bring back Pokemon Snap?
Yeah.
I mean, it would be, especially with today's graphics, it would be great.
Or even for the kids, why not bring back a version of Hey You Pikachu?
Yeah. Yeah.
I own Hey You Pikachu.
Although I'm terrified of Hey You Pikachu work.
Hey You Pikachu, do the nay-nay.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And watch just for fucking laughs and shit. It happens.
You know, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I mean, it probably won't happen with Nintendo, but I could see people going in and modding and making.
If that were to ever happen, that's where I go for my child. Nope. Trash for going back to Xbox.
Yeah. Alright, so we might actually have our first VR game.
Yeah, we're talking about that.
So, you know, if you guys are familiar with the movie John Wick with Keanu Reeves, he's, spoiler if you haven't watched it, do you want me to?
Go ahead.
So Keanu Reeves plays, like, there's like a brotherhood of assassins in that universe.
Okay.
And John Wick, Keanu Reeves, is the greatest of them all. Like a legend, like a hitman, almost.
Okay.
But just like super martial arts and like, imagine Neo, less supernatural, more assassin-like.
Okay.
But he retired. He decided to retire, got married, happy life. His wife gets cancer. His wife eventually passes away, but she leaves him. Well, first of all, they had a car together. Well, he had his car. It was like a really nice, like, Mustang-looking thing, and he had that. But she left him, which at first I thought was gonna be cheesy, but she left him like a puppy.
Okay.
Like a little beagle. But she said, "With this is what you're gonna use to learn to love again."
Okay.
Because she knew she was gonna pass away.
Yeah.
She left him like a little letter, and he only read it after she passed away.
Yeah.
So, you know, he was starting to love this puppy, and it shows like little scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
And essentially, the Russian mafia somehow comes in and just fucks everything up. So they steal his car, kill the puppy, and beat him up.
Okay.
And then he essentially goes on a revenge-driven
fucking rampage.
Yeah, and just kills all of them. Like, super awesome style, you know, with the gun, fighting, stabbing. It was awesome. It was so good that they announced a sequel for it.
Yeah, now apparently...
Yeah. The developers from Payday 2, the bank robbing game, they were able to get the rights to create a VR game based off of that.
Yeah, that could work.
And I mean, if they do it, because I wasn't too impressed with Payday 2. It got really, I downloaded the demo, like the trial version that they do on the Xbox Live, and I tried playing it, but it gets really repetitive after a while. You know, all the heists are about the same.
They must have presented it in a way that, you know, the producers were like, okay,
let's do it.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're able to capitalize like every aspect of what the movie represented, it should be awesome. Especially, you know, with the VR and you being first person.
Yeah,
and if they're able to incorporate movements and
being up in person with the killings and whatnot, right there,
I mean, it could be kind of like a Mirror's Edge.
Yeah,
kind of
thing. Fucking realistic.
Which brings me to the next topic. They announced, well, they've been announcing there's not a sequel, it's a reboot to Mirror's Edge called Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Okay.
And believe it or not, it's in running right now because they're still polling and stuff for game of Gamescom.
Really?
Like, you know, they say which game like impressed a lot of people at Gamescom. Mirror's Edge Catalyst is one of them. That and then another game called Battleborn.
Battleborn?
Which is essentially more like a multiplayer that like kind of Call of Duty is.
Yeah.
But very like a little bit more cartoonish and, you know, fun looking.
Yeah.
You have like all the different characters and you pick a character that has like different attributes. Like you can have one that's like big and strong, or one's like small and, you know, sneaky, and it looks really fun. It kind of has, it doesn't look like Splatoon, but it has that Splatoon like I mean, go play with friends and have fun and enjoy myself.
Okay.
So I mean, those are two games that were definitely running for best game of Gamescom. Another game too, Scalebound.
Never heard of it.
So essentially what Scalebound is, you play a character that somehow got teleported out of, you know, here, out of like our world into it looked like a medieval type world.
Yeah.
But somehow you got merged, or I mean, they didn't reveal too much on the storyline. They said, oh, we're gonna save that for when you buy the game, for that, you know, hype. But essentially, the dude's arm is like all scaly, and you are connected to a dragon, a big dragon that is tamed, and you get to ride on and command him, kind of like Aragon.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah.
And then essentially, there's like other monsters that come in, like giant praying mantises, giant nine-headed things coming at you, and it looks really, really good. And it's one of those games that it's not realistic, like Witcher.
Yeah.
Or whatever the case is, because, you know,
it draws more in its fantasy aspect.
Right, because, you know, you have a sword, and as you take out the sword, you have like these Beats audio headphones.
What the fuck?
That you just put on, and it's like Japanese pop sounding, but it's English, but it's like Japanese pop.
I'm gonna go medieval on your ass, let me get my Beats.
Yeah, no, he says that. He's like, okay, let's go get him, and then he puts it on, and it looks fun. It looks really fun.
It sounds like it's like the kind of like stupid fun, you know. It's like, this game by no means has any real story or any real...
I mean, no, but there is a story behind it.
Okay.
Like, I guarantee that there is a concrete story, and you get to armor up your dragon and like upgrade him.
Why the hell not? And I like games like that just say, why the hell not?
Definitely. So I've been building up this Microsoft balloon.
Yes.
So I mean, I feel like there should be at least one thing to kind of bring it down a bit. The Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
The game, amazing. They redid the whole formula. Now you can actually select what skill points you want her to have. You can make her into an assassin. You can make her into like a spy. You can make her into like a guerrilla, you know, tactician where you just go guns blazing. Awesome. But this is where Microsoft might have regretted spending all that time and money to get it as an exclusive. They already teased a sequel to that game, and the game hasn't even came out.
Yeah,
but they also confirmed that it's not going to be an IP exclusive for Microsoft. So it's going to be, again, for all platforms. So now Microsoft is just, I bet you, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're not going to admit it, but I bet you they're just sitting there, why do we invest, all this to get it when, all this hype for us having it.
PlayStation's going to fucking have it too.
Yeah, and then eventually the second one is just going to be, everyone. But nonetheless, the game
looks great. It does.
Incredible.
It looks great.
A game that's creepy, and you should look into it because it will give you a lot to talk about next week, and we'll probably talk about it a lot because it created a lot of hype too. It's called The Happy Few. So it's all in first person. It reminds me a lot of Dishonored.
Okay, I played Dishonored. I actually enjoyed that game.
So that feeling, first person, and kind of like how the characters don't look too realistic.
Dishonored was great.
Right. I mean, I don't mean like unrealistic as the gameplay, but just like the graphics.
I mean, I think like one of my favorite things about Dishonored was like the talking heart that you carried with you.
Yeah.
It was creepy, but it was cool.
Right. Now, what it is, it's a city, and something happened in the city. You don't know, but something happened in the city, and everyone's like taking drugs, like prescription pills, to make them happy.
What the hell?
And like, there's certain sections of the city. There's a section of the city where the people aren't taking the prescription drugs, but they're like crazy or demented or something, and they attack you.
So is this drug like keeping people sane?
Yeah.
Oh.
And once you go into the city, like all these people that are happy are wearing like white masks, like weird mime masks, and they're like all happy, but there's a dynamic to where if you don't take the drug, they notice you don't have the drug, and they're more inclined to come after you.
Oh man, I gotta play that.
It's one of those games.
That's that type of creepy that's like right in my.
Oh yeah.
Right up to my alley.
You should look into it. We Happy Few. And like you go into like a phone booth, and instead of a phone, it's like this little like mechanism.
It sounds like a game that once we launch our Twitch, I might end up playing.
Definitely. No, it definitely looks like a straight up Twitch game.
I will.
And you like turn the dial of like these containers, and like a pill pops out, and you take it, and you get like all these like rainbow-like colors on the screen that like you're drugged.
It's like you're fucking on acid, tripping.
Yeah, but as you're walking down the street afterwards, like all the people are like all like waving at you, hey, how are you?
That is.
And the trailer plays London Bridge, the song London Bridge, in a very creepy tone.
I have to play it.
I'm telling you, when I saw this game, I'm like, it's all I got.
That is just wow.
Mafia 3.
Mafia 3, okay. What's going on, Mafia?
Amazing. I'm telling you, I feel like a bro getting like a scratch, CD. Just amazing. I somewhat played Mafia 1. Didn't get too impressed.
Okay.
Mafia 2, I was close to buying it, but this was around the time that I was going to upgrade to the Xbox One. So I decided not to buy it. And so Mafia 3 just looks, because I stay away from the GTA looking.
I do too. I never really got too big into GTA. Last one I was actually enjoyed was Vice City.
Right.
After that, I just
Saints Row. I played like.
I couldn't get into
Saints Row, was it 2? And after that, I just kind of stayed away from it.
I couldn't get into Saints Row at all.
But Mafia 3 kind of looks like it might be its own thing. It takes place in New Orleans, has its own soundtrack, based in the time of 68, like right after the war.
Okay.
So you play a guy that just came back from war, and you get involved with the mafia, and it's a big open world. You can drive cars, steal. That's
pretty cool.
So I mean, it looks awesome. They announced Legend of Zelda: Triforce Heroes coming out in October for the 3DS.
Yeah, so that should hold us over until Zelda U comes out, which I am still super psyched for.
Yeah, and it's just going to create more and more hype.
Yeah,
because
it should hold us over.
Based on how the gameplay looks for this, it can kind of give us an idea of how Zelda U is going to be when it does.
Yeah, and I've seen a little bit of Zelda U gameplay-wise from what Miyamoto released, and it looks good. It looks like something we've been waiting for a while.
And so these next two topics. Well, I'll start with the lesser of the two.
Okay.
So one of Microsoft's biggest emphasis of Gamescom was indie games.
Yeah, Microsoft is huge in their indie department.
They're investing so much. Like Ark was a game that it's an indie game, and they're saying that's going to be.
Looking at it, you wouldn't guess it was an indie game.
They're saying that's the flagship of their indie department.
Fuck, I don't argue with that.
But I've noticed like there's so much diversity in the games that they're creating now. Like I told you, there was a game that was it was an 8-bit game. It was like this old school Monkey Island. Remember Monkey Island? When we were in elementary school. But those graphics, like that type of graphics of just like click and investigate, drag and see what that like that. And they were hyping it so much. What else? There's another one where names off the top of my head. I mean, I'll definitely put a little picture in there. But it's a game, but it looks like a really old school 1970s cartoon.
Wow, okay.
But you move the character. Imagine like Mickey Mouse, old school like black and white Mickey Mouse, like on the
I remember. Yeah.
Those graphics, like the art.
Okay, I like that.
Game.
I like that.
Very nostalgic.
Okay, I like that.
And and amongst a whole bunch of other indie games, and they're just investing more and more.
Again, this is Xbox throwing down all the chips for saying we want to be the dominant console.
No, definitely. Now the last one I left, the last topic I left on purpose. And only for the sole reason I played the first one, and it was horrible.
Okay.
Homefront.
I never touched it.
But I'm pretty sure you've seen it.
I've seen it. I may have played it once, and I just.
But it was bad. The 360 version
was the one that has the cover with the dude and the blowing for.
Yeah.
No, I hated that. I played it. I hated it. Homefront was garbage.
The new one though, Homefront: The Revolution.
Looks good.
Amazing. Imagine Far Cry 3. I mean, no, just Far Cry, the new Far Cry, but with less of that. Like you're able to do whatever the heck you want.
The only issue with that is it could be good. It could look great, but it can end up showing shades of its predecessor.
Well, because the storyline this time around is a lot better.
Okay.
And they didn't want to admit it was North Korea.
But it is.
But it's North Korea. So essentially North Korea comes over, takes over the U.S., defeats the U.S., and you're part of the revolution to kind of set them back.
Okay.
And you go, and it's all in first person. The gunplay looks very Call of Duty-esque. You go on missions, you can ride motorcycles, ride cars, and you have to go and detonate, certain areas or take down weapons caches, vehicle caches, telecommunication towers, things like that.
Yeah.
It's very strategic, and you get to choose which way you take down.
That's pretty cool.
The game. The graphics look awesome. Like I remember in the 360, the graphics didn't look on par with the other, first-person shooters. And that was one of the reasons why a lot of people didn't like it, because they hyped up, the 360 version so much, and when you played it, it looked very secondary.
Okay.
To the rest of the games. This one, graphics are on par.
Shit, man, let's hope it actually delivers.
I mean, from what I saw and from what I heard from the commentating, because I did watch a lot of this stuff on the Xbox Live. Like they had like a little show they did like Gamescom live daily TV show or something, and they put a lot of emphasis on Homefront. They said they felt like this is the game that's just gonna lift up Microsoft's.
That's a big statement. That's a big statement. Oh, okay.
Like it's gonna help along with Halo 5 and along with other games that they announced like Halo Wars and Crackdown 3.
That's a huge thing. We'll definitely have to see if that holds true then.
No, yeah. I mean, they did finish by saying the statement that this lineup of games, pretty much every game that we just talked about, it's the best lineup Microsoft has ever had. And that's coming from Phil Spencer himself.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. I mean, I haven't seen a lineup like this in a long time. Ever.
Even with the 360, I feel like the last time we had such a first-party based lineup was with the original Xbox and the PS2. Because once they went into next gen, then
literally the entire 360 era was a few original titles, but just prolonging existing titles.
Right.
That was the entirety of the PS3, Xbox 360 era.
Yeah, and
now it's time to finally come back.
Yeah,
Continue working on your pre-existing titles, but focus more on your original titles. We need more originality.
Yeah, and I feel like
there's only so many times I can see a Halo come out, or Gears of War, or you can't keep these.
Or like Mass Effect, how they released.
You can't keep these franchises going on forever.
Although Mass Effect, I didn't put it on here. It looks like it could work.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with Shepard. Shepard's not in it. It's in a completely different time and place in that big universe. The universe is way bigger. Different character, different missions.
Okay, see, that can work.
And it looks good.
So yeah, it's time to get back into the competing aspect of it. It'll help both companies compete and they'll push each other.
Yeah. Definitely. And the guy even said it, that E3, arguably you could say Sony took it.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like it was neck and neck, but they say Sony took it just because of their overall lineup of games, as opposed to what Xbox put out there. In Gamescom, Xbox just came back with a vengeance and just took it.
Like I said, it's gonna push each other. Competition creates quality gaming, but it also creates cash influx.
Yeah.
It creates money.
Oh no, yeah, no.
And that's what they're. I feel like that's they haven't been looking at the big picture in so long. It's been let's just keep focusing on our titles. Forget what PlayStation's doing. No, competition creates quality games.
Right. Look at what they're doing and improve on it. And I feel like it's definitely with games. Like I said, and the other reason I said Crackdown 3 can be so good because it's created by Microsoft Studios.
Yeah.
As opposed to Fallout 4, who's going to be, that's going to be on both platforms. Quantum Break, I believe, again, both platforms. Fable Legends, Microsoft. Halo 5, Microsoft. Tomb Raider, Microsoft. So all those games are just Microsoft, primarily Microsoft. And so, once you go back and look at it, PlayStation, have they announced any PlayStation exclusive games?
Not that I know, just for the fact that I don't keep up with PlayStation, but not that I've seen.
Right, nothing I've heard of. So they're kind of like putting their hand out, their hand on the card to say, okay, Sony,
yeah,
come at us with something original from you. And it's just going to be a back and forth battle, and then we're just going to have to wait and see if Nintendo is going to be able to deliver with the NX and come in and play their own hand. Because now that I think about it, it would be a really bad decision, and I feel like Sebastian might agree with me. It would be a really bad decision for, especially now with this lineup, for the NX to try and keep up with the games, as in change the way they make games. Remember we were talking about last time how NX should maybe upgrade their games and do something a little bit more next gen. I feel like they should stay away from that.
For now, yeah.
Because if they go straight into it, they're going to just find themselves massacred by Sony and Microsoft.
Yeah. These next couple months leading into next year are crucial for each company.
Yeah. And hopefully Nintendo, Takeda, which all signs point to him, he's able to sit back and say, hopefully he doesn't decide, let's just throw it all out and revolutionize our way.
Extremely fatal for the company.
I feel like he should just take the safer route and say, let's keep doing what we're doing for now.
For now, not forever, just for now.
Right, see what happens between Sony and Microsoft, at least until the holidays.
Yeah, because they can keep themselves afloat. They're not going to get hurt from kicking back for a little bit. They're not going to get hurt.
After the holidays, after Christmas and all that subsides, and then everybody went and bought their new system, or the new games or something, then Nintendo can be like, now that their dust is dying out, let's go out there and, create, another half of dust or whatever. So, yeah, but that's about it. I know this episode was longer than last week's.
Yes, we're still trying to figure out something, but it's hard to want to talk about all these things and shorten it down.
Right, and I feel it's going forward. It's probably going to end up being, for every regular episode, it's going to be a shorter, condensed version like we did last week.
Yeah.
But for something like this that was Gamescom related, like with a big convention,
it's going to be longer.
It's going to tend to be longer. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but, you know, on the other hand, you can still expect to see, you know, all those quick vids. And,
right, oh yeah, definitely.
Me and Doug got something we want to do. Still got to talk to Sebastian, who couldn't be here today. Can probably most likely expect some things from me as well. Some gameplay stuff, talking about any, you know, some gaming related things. So we got some stuff in the works.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Hopefully with all those, you know, we each of us doing like our own video, it could definitely, you know.
Not only, yeah, it helps condense things, but you also get a feel for us too individually.
Oh yeah.
You know, so we definitely got a little bit of support on our Twitter. You know, we got a favorite on one of our things, which is great. Yeah, we're still figuring it out.
It's gonna take a while.
It is. You know, and hopefully those of you who do watch the side, you know, stick along for the ride. Because, I mean, this is gonna get bigger. There's no doubt.
I mean, and you know, and that's what we want, and that's the drive we have for it right now. So, you know, like I said, keep on telling us what you think.
Yeah, let us know stuff. I mean, because the thing is, I mean, we're not just four dudes who want to talk about what we want to talk about. We're gamers united.
Right, and we want to talk about things that, you know, you guys are going to like too. I mean, I know all the topics, for example, for Gamescom. There is so much more that we could have talked about.
Yeah.
But this is just something that, you know, my point of view picked out.
Yeah.
So if you guys know something that happened at Gamescom that you guys feel should be brought up, you know, into light, or that, you know, you guys want our opinion about, let us know. You know, like Kevin said, it's four of us, and yes, we, you know, we're hardcore gamers, we love our games, but we don't know everything. Even though, you know, Sebastian might think.
It's all Sega.
Yeah. You know, but follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. You know, I know I'm going to take the initiative to be more active on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to with our Twitter. I know since we're still very new, I did tweet out the other day, so I was playing Dead Space 2, and, you know, wanted to see, if anyone else has a favorite horror game they consider a classic. So I'm going to try and get a little more active myself.
Okay. Alright, but definitely, let us know what you think, what we can do better. Just anything at all. We definitely value your ideas and your thoughts. And, I mean, yeah. So, you know, we started off as 4 gamers. We're going to finish this video off with 2.
Yeah. Doug unfortunately had to take off. We started recording a little later in the day than we normally do. For various reasons.
Yeah, but nonetheless, next week, expect all 4 of us to be back. So, you know, for Sebastian, for Doug, Paulo Chindocha,
Kevin Shepard.
game on.